Hey everybody, it's Bruno and welcome to AndB. Click on the subscribe button below here and you'll never miss an episode. And also you can follow us on LinkedIn and on Facebook on MegaPixx Media. Enjoy the episode.
That's right. What's up, you sucker? That's right. What's up, you sucker?
I just want to remind everybody we're on AndB with Lisa Elle from Ellements Financial Group. This is super awesome. I can't believe I just said super awesome. How old am I? But I want to talk about the two main tips. They better be good, Lisa. To have a real, wealth mindset. So number one, what would you tell people? And I write everything down, so.
No, for sure. So
there will be a quiz. There will be a quiz after this.
That's right. It'll probably be a quiz for me to see if I remember what I just said. So the first tip to a wealthy mindset is you need to be aware of what you are saying. Be aware of what your thoughts are, because what you are saying and what you're thinking is directly linked to your wealth. So if you have preconceived notions, we were all raised with them, money is dirty, money doesn't grow on trees. These are all things that secretly, creep under the surface and actually detract from our wealth because of the thoughts that we are thinking. Mm-hmm. So it's just so important that we are aware and bring awareness to some of the thoughts we were thinking. Here's some that I've uncovered for myself on a personal note. One of them was, I would get really frustrated when I would see, let's call them rich kids, getting handed everything by their parents, whether that's a business or just money. And I would be jealous. Like I would have judgments because you're judging, right? We're just judging machines. We're just out there judging everything. And I would be upset. I'd be like, oh, they're so lazy. And look, they're, getting handed millions from their parents or their parents' business or whatever. Whereas like I had to work for everything myself. So being aware of that has been so helpful to know that, first of all, like detaching, like true abundance, really, like detaching it from the hours worked. We're so trained and ingrained that you need to work X number of hours to create X number of dollars. And that's actually not the case with building wealth. Because look, like how would any of the multi-millionaires or billionaires in the world, if we all have the same amount of hours? So that's clearly not the case, because you can be wealthier beyond your wildest dreams, and you're not relating your time worked and energy worked into hour into your paycheck, right? So does that make sense? Yeah. So you have to realize that formula doesn't work to creating true wealth. So you have to kind of detach some of those beliefs and truly throw a lot of like love and acceptance around a lot of things. And that's one of the things that I was like caught red-handed for, is kind of being judgmental on rich people or poor people even. So there's just judgments there. Just being aware of them really help shift your mindset toward wealth. And really it's more like, how do I include others? How can I serve others? How can I help others? How can I invent something to help others? How can I, come up with more ideas? It's really on ideation and all these kind of things that we can really create our wealth and getting out of that mentality. So anyways, that's kind of one of my stories on my money mindsets.
Okay, so that's number one, is about being aware of your mindset versus what your actions are. But it sounds like, we have a few things in common. You're saying, the whole thing about rich kids and not having to work with it. Do you want to share where you came from?
Oh yeah, it's funny. I'm like a totally middle-class family. My parents have been very supportive with me, but I never got handouts for my business. And if I would go to say a conference in the financial planning world and I'd see someone else my own age, but then know that their daddy handed them this multi-million-dollar business, It would totally frost me. And I would immediately think that's unfair, and all these judgments and things that are truly not helpful for me. Again, it's just about you building that awareness. So it can help you create wealth and not be, pulled back by the negativity, because negativity will absolutely crush your wealth as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Have you always been this positive or what?
Yeah, so my mom said I was born optimistic, but like I said, I'm still judgmental. I'm working on that. No, I'm actually truly not that judgmental, but there are these things that come out that you just like you're just kind of born with it, right? Like you kind of hear your parents nattering in your ear most of your life, and then you get married maybe and have a partner nattering in your ear. So I find a lot of our judgments and all these mindsets, we just come by naturally. And the thing is, we need to kind of dive into them, and they're essentially money blocks, and they're blocking the flow of energy. And I always say money is just energy, and you're blocking that flow of money flowing to you when you're throwing out judgments and about other people, and you're just blocking it for yourself. It's not hurting anyone else. It's just
Right.
you're stopping that flow of money coming to you.
It's funny is if you stop and think about what you said about how did billionaires make billions. We all have 24 hours. They must get up really early in the morning, don't they? To go to that ditch.
Yeah.
So, one of the things is that, I like to share a couple of things about my journey, if it's appropriate, and people can, like it or not. But yeah, it really is a different mindset when you grow up with, proverbial nothing, like you never went on vacation, and your family works 7 days a week at a small business or something, and then all of a sudden you're confronted with, wow, that baseball team has uniforms, and then I think in modern day, most of the kids nowadays, relatively speaking, to me, they're all rich kids. Like even the more poorest kid, notwithstanding, homeless children, and that's terrible. I'm saying a lot of the kids that we encounter these days, compared to, they're kind of rich kids, and it's hard to understand that, especially if you're starting a business. That comment you made about starting a business versus inheriting a business, I am sure it's tough on the rich kids to inherit a father's business, maybe, or a mother's business. Sorry, I'm sure that stress.
Sure. No, I see that now, because like I said, this was a belief I used to hold years ago when I was starting out in the industry. But absolutely, like, trust me, now I wouldn't wish to have, like, I'm so glad I don't have my daddy's business, so to speak, and I've created my own from scratch. But yeah, everything comes with its challenges. It's just how you're perceiving the world, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Before we get to number 2, tip of wealth mindset, I want to bring up your book again, Strut and How to Kick Financial Assets.
Yay!
I'm not slowing down. I really want to punctuate that assets, because I like that, because you need a kick in the ass. What chapter covers some of the points that you're talking about right now?
Oh, actually, that's a good question. Because you know what happens when you write a book?
Let's get that straight, Lisa. Let's get that straight. They're all good questions. Okay. So
no, they're good questions. But this is a really good question because I don't know the answer to it. Okay, but mindset is chapter 1 and 2, and also chapter 14 and 13. So there you go. So the beginning of the book and the end of the book is a lot on mindset. There you go.
Okay. No, I want to make sure that they know about the book. We mentioned it before, but I also want to make sure that you refer back to it in more detail, right? So that, we're not going to talk about all the details, but I think that goes hand in hand with, the ability I learned a long time ago. I'll share this with you and whoever else is watching. My father used to tell me, he's always a business person. And he used to say, everybody says, oh, I got to go to work. I got to go to work. There's never a shortage of work. And kind of, you have to change the mindset to say, I'm going to earn, right? So if you're going to go into your workplace, it's really your earn place. Because if it's a workplace, you may as well just dig a ditch, and you never run out of that until you hit China and back, right? So, and the other thing I want to bring up is that, do you ever talk about this mindset, in your podcast, Money Makeover? Is that covered in here? What percentage of it, or do you have guests to talk about that?
Oh, yes. Like, honestly, I talk about money mindset and a wealth building mindset probably 90% of the time, because your mindset 100% determines your wealth. You can do all the strategies, but you have to shift your mindset to really get into the game about wealth building, for sure.
Okay. Number 2.
Okay, number 2. And this is a mindset. This is just flat out. Procrastination is the killer of your wealth. And everyone procrastinates. We are so bad. Now, how many hundreds of clients do I sit with? And I say, okay, again, back to the 3 tips we talked about earlier, but do you have a will? Do you have, an emergency fund? Do you have, basic things handled? And they put it off, they put it off, they put it off until it's too late. And then those 5 Ds of life will sneak in. Because what did I say before? 5 Ds of life will totally kick you in the assets. And the 5 Ds are death, disability, divorce, drugs as in medications, or the other kind of drugs, the good kind, and disagreements. These are all things that we need to have a plan in place for. And if we're procrastinating on getting that plan in place for when life comes to bite you in the assets, that's when you need to make sure you have this. So stop procrastinating. What you need to do is start taking little steps every day. And I know no one has the time, money, and energy to deal with thinking about their mortality and planning out their will and estate, but just start taking baby steps toward it and get it handled, because it'll give you such a peace of mind that will change everything. Because when you have things in place, you now create the space in your life. Instead of it sitting in the back of your head nagging you for 10 years, like, oh, I need to get a will, all these kind of things that you have in the back of your head. When you handle them, you now create the space to allow for true wealth building. Because now you're not worried about the little things. And plus, when you're building wealth, it's more exciting because now you actually have a plan for it. You know how it's going to affect your finances and whatnot. So anyways, it's just really important to make sure you're not a procrastinator. That has to go. That will kill you. One of the statistics is that the true wealthy and business owners that are successful make decisions like so fast. They do not sit and hum and haw about it for days. They make decisions like that and just go with it. Whether it's the right decision or wrong decision, they almost don't even care. They just go with it. They'll fix it later if they need to and course correct later. But that's a huge, huge characteristic of very successful business owners. So you just got to go with it and just get done.
Well, you know what? I really like the second one. You can tell that I was writing down there and it took me a while because procrastination is a really tough word to spell, let alone kick. I'm like, PR, what the hell? Oh, like, I got to listen. This is a very difficult job I have. I got to listen and write, and it's just procrastination. But those are 2 really, really good tips, is that it's mindset. And then once you decide in your mind, you got to get it done. And, we talk about this all the time. I have this coaching program, Dream, Reach, Achieve, and it's ... in the middle, dream, reach, ... And everybody jokes around about the dot, but that's the hard work between the dreaming and achieving. And procrastinating is, like you said, the business people, the successful people make up their minds quicker. And I think maybe because their minds are clear as to what their goals are.
Absolutely. I think so too. And I think you just nailed it on the head right there, because people know which direction they're heading. And it's easier when you have those boundaries set and you know where you're headed. It's easier to say yes and no to things. It's easier to just make decisions instantly, right? Yeah.
Well, you know what? I am promoting your book. I mean, I'm without shame. Show up your book, because what I'm going to do is I am going to raffle one of them off from one of our viewers. There it is. So number 1, awareness of your thoughts and actions. And number 2, procrastination kills everything. You can just procrastination, right?
Yes.
So, this is great, and I think everybody should be aware of those 2 points.
Well, you know what? That's pretty much all the time we have for this episode today. Thank you for tuning in with us. And you know what? Make sure you subscribe to our MegaPixx media channel so you will never miss an episode. And also, you can follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook, Instagram. We have content almost every day. So thank you very much for joining us. I'll see you guys soon.